Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, this is our another chapter related with the personnel planning and recruiting. One of the most important chapter as far as the examination and learning point of view is concerned. Uh, when we're talking about the personnel planning, the most important thing is that we have to look out the some of the major structure which is related with the personnel planning or recruitment. The number one thing is that the recruitment and selection process decide what positions to fill through personnel planning and forecasting, build a candidate pool by recruiting internal or external candidates, have candidates complete application form, or we have the to build a candidate pool by internal or external candidates. To have candidates, we have to look out the either the candidates complete application forms and undergo initial screening interviews, use selection tools to identify viable candidates, decide who to make an offer to by having the supervisor and others interview the candidates. Then we have to look out the other aspects, which is the steps required in the recruitment and selection process. So when we're talking about steps and recruitment in the selection process, so the employment planning and forecasting, recruiting built a pool of candidates, applicants complete application forms, use selection tools like test to screen out most applicants, supervisors and others, interview final candidates to make final choice. So these are the some of the major steps when you're talking about recruitment and selection process is concerned. Linking employer strategy to plans. So we have to look out the employer strategic plan. Either they are focusing on diversity, either they are focusing on integrate vertically, they expand geographically, on what basis should we compete. So employers functional plans, marketing plans, production plans, financial plans, and HR plans, personnel plans, training and development plans, compensation plans, labor relations plan, security and safety plans, personnel's forecast, recruitment plans, employee selection plans. So these are some of the important strategic aspects related with the personnel planning. Then we have to look out the planning and forecasting, employment or personnel plannings, the process of deciding what positions the firm will have to fill and how to fill them, succession planning. This is also very important. The process of deciding how to fill the company's most important executive jobs, what to forecast overall personnel needs, the supply of inside candidates, the supply of outside candidates, that we need to look out these aspects. Then the forecasting personnel needs is forecasting tools, trend analysis, ratio analysis, and scattered plotting. Uh, the other thing is when we look out this, the trend analysis and the ratio analysis and scattered plotting is basically when you're talking about trend analysis. So we have to look out when the personnels or a department we need for a specific purpose or a specific element. So we have to look out these things. Then the ratio analysis is based on historical ratio between some causal factors, sorry, like sales volume and the number of employees required. So these are some of the, then scatter is geographically, we have to look out the how two variables such as sales and your firm staffing levels are related. If they are, and then you can forecast the business activities like sales, you should also be able to estimate your personnel needs. And moving further, we have to look out uh, the other elements, the other aspects, which is related with the drawbacks to the traditional forecasting techniques. They focus on projections in historical relationships, They do not consider the impact of strategic initiatives on future staffing levels. They support compensation plans that reward managers for managing ever larger staffs. They bake in the idea that staff increases are inevitable. They validate and institutionalize present planning processes and the usual ways of doing things. Next, we have to look out at using computers to forecast personnel's requirements, computerized forecast software that estimate future staffing needs by projecting sales, volume of production, and personnel required to maintain different volumes of output, forecasting staffing levels for direct labor, indirect staff, and exempt staff, creating metrics for direct labor hours and three sales projection scenarios: minimum, maximum, and probable. Forecasting the supply of inside candidates, qualifying inventories, manual systems and replacement charts, computerized skills and inventories. These are some of the techniques related with the forecasting. Other elements, we are going further. The matter of privacy, ensuring the security of HR information, control of HR information through access matrices, access to records and employee privacy, legal consideration. The Federal Privacy Act of 1972, 1974, New York Personal Privacy Act, HIPAA, and Americans Disability Act. Forecasting outside candidates supply, factors in supply of outside candidates, general economic conditions, expected unemployment rate, sources of information, periodic forecast in business publications, online economic projections. So these are some of the elements. The need for effective recruiting. So we need the recruiting challenges, effectiveness of chosen recruiting methods, effects of non-recruitment issues and policies, legal requirements associated with employment laws. What are the effective recruiting external factors affecting recruiting? Supply of workers, outsourcing of white collar jobs, fewer qualified candidates, other factors affecting recruiting success, consistency of recruitment with strategic goals, types of jobs recruited and recruiting methods, non-recruitment HR issues and policies, successful pre-screening of applicants, public image of the firm, employment laws. So these are some of the valuable points that we need to consider when we're talking about recruitment. Organizing how to recruit. This is another point that we need to consider and we need to look out. So the facilitates advantage of centralizing recruiting efforts, facilitates strategic priorities, reduces duplication of HR activities, ensures compliance with EEO laws, fosters effective use of online recruiting, and then we have to see it the other element which is related with the, you can say that measuring recruiting effectiveness, evaluating recruiting effectiveness, what to measure, how to measure these factors. And we have to discuss it, the other elements, internal sources of candidates, advantages for knowledge of candidates' strengths and weaknesses, more accurate view of candidate skills. Candidates have a stronger commitment to the company, increase employees' morale, less training and orientation required. Disadvantages, failed applicants become discontented. Time wasted interviewing inside candidates who will not be considered. Inbreeding strengthens tendency to maintain the status quo. Finding internal candidates, hiring from within task, posting open job positions, rehiring former employees, succession planning. Moving further, we have to look at the other element. Outside sources of candidates, locating outside candidates, recruiting via the internet, advertising, employment agencies, temporary agencies and alternative staffing, offshoring, outsourcing, executive recruiting, on-demand recruiting, college recruiting, referrals, and walk-ins. So these are some of the sources where we go for the recruitment process. Recruiting via the internet there are some of the advantages there and as well as some of the disadvantages. Cost-effective way to publicize job openings, more applicant attracted over a longer period, immediate applicant responses, online pre-screening of applicants, links to other job search sites, automation of applicant tracking and evaluation. Disadvantages: exclusion of older and minority workers, unqualified applicants overload the system, personal information privacy concerns of applicants, and then we have to look out the other elements. Advertising for outside candidates, the media choice, constructing, writing effective ads, uh, then move out to further. Employment agencies, the type of employment agencies, public agencies, non-profit agencies, and private agencies. Why use a private employment agencies? No HR department, firms lacks recruiting and screening capabilities to attract a pool of qualified applicants. If the HR department has not a proper system available to attract the pool of the qualified candidates or applicants, so they go for a private employment agencies and where they can uh, request, they have the paid employment agency, so they have to pay them, and with this they can uh, advertise the particularly jobs. To fill a particular opening quickly, to attract more minority or female applicants, to reach currently employed individuals who are more comfortable dealing with agencies than competing companies, to reduce internal time devoted to recruiting. So these are some of the techniques that the companies or employers are using it. There are some of the other points related with the specialized staffing and recruitment, alternative staffing, on-demand recruiting services. Then we have the benefits, or the cost of the temp agencies and alternative staffing. Then working with the temp agencies concerned with these elements. And then we have the offshoring and outsourcing jobs relating it. Then the executive recruitment is concerned. College recruitment is the another element, sources of outside applicants, employment referrals and walk-ins. This is also another techniques that most of the companies, organizations are using it. Then moving further, improving productivity through the human resource information system, HRIS, requisition management system, recruiting solutions, screening services, hiring management. So these are the other elements, these are the other techniques that most of the recruitment agencies are using. Recruiting a more diverse workforce, then developing and using applicant forms. These are some of the forms, these are some of the areas, and these are some of the techniques. Go through with these questions, and then as well as go through with these slides as well. If you have any questions related with this chapter, so you can directly contact with me on my WhatsApp, which I already given to you people. Or either we have to arrange a live class so I can reply to all of your queries and all of your questions as well. So this concludes our this chapter. Go through with this chapter, study this chapter, and the issues, any other problems that related with this course, this chapter. So you can ask from me as well. So thank you very much, dear students.